Okay, I take it. No. I take it. You don't take it. You wait till the end of the... We're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this. He's in the frame. We're doing this. This is going to be short and sweet because this dog is going to try to take this treat out of my hand. Hi! So, I did not read as many books in November as I thought I would. I mean, I knew it was going to be a low point, but I did not anticipate being so burnt out towards the end of the month. So, if I give it to you, you'll leave me. Of the 6 books that I told myself I would read, I read 2 of them. He's so disappointed in me that he wants to leave. The first one was The 7.5 Deaths of Don't Leave Me. The first one was The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. And although I enjoyed this book for the twistiness of the plot, I didn't enjoy it for the character development. In fact, I was rather disgusted by the fat phobia that was presented in the book. I could have put the book down there, but my reading buddy Allison really liked that book and recommended it to me, so I read it all the way through just so I could discuss it with her later that day. I now have a clementine for further bribery. Yes, my dog likes clementines. What of it? Come here. You're gonna come around the other side. Okay. I hope that works out for you, baby. So the second book that I read was New Order, which is the second in the Beau Blackman series by Helen Harper. You know what? I think I'm even telling you a lie. I think the second book on my to-read list was Dire Straits, which was the first book in the Beau Blackman series. So I read the first book, Dire Straits, loved it so much that I read the second book, New Order, and love that so much that I'm currently in the middle of reading the third book, High Stakes. There are 6 books in this series, and I'm very sad that it's only 6 books. I really love the world building and the character development, and the plot is really nice too. It's always got like a mystery kind of action element to it. And I love the narrator. I'm reading it in audiobook, and the narrator is Saskia Marleveld, and she does a really, really good job. 2 of the other books that I was supposed to finish reading, I barely picked up in November. The Name of All Things by Jen Lyons, I continued a little bit, and I like it a lot more than I did when I initially picked it up right off the heels of The Ruin of Kings. Now, The Ruin of Kings was such a spectacular read for me this year that the second book just really didn't hold up. But without the first book in my head, I can really enjoy the second book for the world building, for the characters, and everything like that, that I just couldn't when I felt like I was being stalled out plot-wise for momentum. Do I have something that you want? Sit. Sit. There you go. And he immediately stands. The second book was The Butchering Art by Lindsay Fitzharris, and I almost didn't pick that one up at all during November because it's the kind of book that I'm using for research, so I want to take a lot of notes in it, and for a good chunk of the last month, I have not been in the right frame of mind for that. I feel a whole lot better now that I've kind of sussed out one of my health problems, and I am addressing it, so I think that December is going to be a better month for me to read that book. I feel like a couple of the others I just dropped entirely. Excuse me. That's rude, sir. Come here. This way. This way. There you go. I feel like a couple of the others I just dropped, and that was because I got in a book at the library that I have been wanting to read all year. And that book is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. As you can see, I went out and bought myself a copy. Actually, I lasted about 3 chapters before I went out and bought myself an audiobook copy. I loved that so much that I immediately went out and bought the physical copy. That might actually be my favorite book of the year. It was witty, it was engaging, it was uplifting, it was empowering. It was just so much. It's about a woman who has a chronic illness. She has fibromyalgia, and she decides that she wants to change her life for the better. So she makes herself a list. And as she's going through this list with her very sexy superintendent Redford Morgan, she realizes that a lot of the items on the list are things that she does not really care about. But she also learns what she does care about. So by the end of the book, I feel really uplifted. I love the way that the author portrays chronic illness because it made me feel so seen. I loved it so much. And the last book, which is kind of a short one that I read, was Women and Power by Mary Beard. And this is a feminist manifesto about how historically, into the modern day, women have been denied a voice in places of power like politics. I enjoyed the historical context, but the authors definitely know Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Nevertheless, I'm glad that I read it, and I definitely want to pick up Mary Beard's other book, SPQR. Would you like this? And then, because I got into a pain loop spiral that just left me completely not wanting to do anything except for sleep and play Pokemon, I read about 7 volumes of One Punch Man. And yeah, that was my reading month for November. It was kind of a short one considering everything that I usually read. Now, considering that I got 33% of the way through my TBR, as stated, I've decided not to make a TBR for December. No TBR. Instead, I'm just going to set myself a volume number of books I would like to read, and that is 12. And I want to read 12 books because my library has access to Hoopla, and for the month of December, they have expanded the catalog that we can access and the number of books we can take out to, you guessed it, 12. There are books on there that I have been wanting to read all year that I had already resigned myself not to reading this year, and I put on my list for next year. But I can cross them off now and get a head start. I have no Clementine left. You ate like 90% of that Clementine. So I hope you had a fantastic reading month. Despite the low number, I know I did. Until next time, happy reading. What? I don't have any Clementine left? You're just gonna glare at me?